What it is, what it do. I'm A1, this is the Division, and in today's video I'm gonna show y'all one of the best builds that this builder's ever built. I feel like Bob the Builder building these builds. Build. What the if I had to compare this build to something, I would compare it to like a master chef. Because whenever I use this build, I feel like I just prepared the dinner table for all my teammates. And all you have to do is just tell your teammates, eat, my nigga, eat, eat. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and show you my Rektician build. Just keep in mind that, I put a lot of time into getting credits to recalibrate and getting these pieces to drop. So if you're here just to tell me my build is shitty, I'm going to look at you like you told me my baby was ugly, okay? I'm going to give you one of those stale faces. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at my Rektician build. And the reason we're calling it Rektician is because we have 4 Reclaimer pieces and we have 2 Tactician pieces. So if you put Reclaimer, Tactician together, you got Rektician. And plus, whenever I use this build, the enemies get wrecked. So that's a good name for it. Now, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each piece, tell you what I like and what I dislike about it, because it isn't a perfect build. I'm going to be honest, it's not perfect. There's some room for improvement. And when I get done showing you the entire build, feel free to leave suggestions in the comments below. Just try not to tell me that my baby's ugly, because I might take it personal. Alright, so before we get into the pieces, you'll notice my toughness is a little low. I know that. I think 400,000 would be ideal for this build, and I'll explain how we could get it up to 400,000. But I guess first let's start off with the chest piece. We got a Reclaimer chest piece. You got armor and health. I think instead of health, I would either prefer damage to elites or exotic damage resilience. But that's sort of the attribute that came with this gear. I couldn't recalibrate everything. We also got increased kill XP, which obviously you would rather have ammo capacity. And for skill attributes, we got smart cover damage resilience, which is perfect. We also got 723 stamina, which, I mean, you would probably want somewhere around 750, but 723 is not too bad. But yeah, that's my chest piece for right now. Next up, we got my Reclaimer mask, which is a stamina mask, 732 stamina. Obviously, you would prefer to have somewhere around 750 something. But 732 is not too bad. Skill power came as the major attribute, which is perfect. I believe the most skill power you can have is somewhere around 5,700. For the minor attribute, I would prefer to have enemy armor damage. And for the skill attribute, support station healing speed is completely useless on a Reclaimer build because, as you can see, when you have 2 pieces on, you get 100% support station healing speed. So the skill attribute's completely useless with this build. Instead of that, I would prefer to have maybe pulse crit hit chance. So yeah, that's my mask that I'm currently using. Anyways, next up, we're going to take a look at my knee pads. And these are some Tactician knee pads with a gear score of 268. They came with firearms, 754 firearms, which is a lot. I believe the most you can get is 759. So 754 is perfect. As for the major attribute, we have damage to elites. Instead of damage to elites, I guess we could go with exotic damage resilience. But damage to elites is okay as well. As for the minor attributes, we have blind, deaf, and shock resistance, which is pretty decent. I guess you could also go for burn or bleed resistance. And instead of increased kill XP, I would prefer ammo capacity. And for the skill attribute, again, support station healing speed is useless on a Reclaimer build. So instead of that, I would prefer either pulse duration or smart cover duration. I believe if we had pulse duration, that would make this build perfect though. So those are my knee pads that I'm currently using. Next up, we have my Reclaimer backpack, and I feel like this is almost a perfect backpack. It came with 708 electronics, and we threw an electronics mod on there with skill power. For the major attributes, we have skill power, and I believe the most you can get is like over 7,000. So we could use some improvement there, get a little bit more skill power. For the minor attributes, we have disrupt resistance. Again, I would prefer like bleed or burn or shock resistance. And for the skill attributes, oh my god, the skill attributes are perfect. We have pulse crit hit damage and smart cover damage resilience, and I'll explain why that's perfect a little bit later. But yeah, those are the perfect skill attributes for this build. Next up, we have my gloves, and I just recalibrated these gloves last night. As you can see, it only has 630 electronics. I believe the most you can get is like 759. So there's a lot of room for improvement on these gloves. But when it comes to the major attributes, I feel like those attributes are perfect for this build because we have marksman rifle damage, and I'm using a marksman rifle. We also have assault rifle damage, and I'm also using an assault rifle. And on top of that, we also have 36% crit hit damage. So I feel like those major attributes are perfect. For the skill attributes, we have support station duration, which I suppose could be useful if you're using support station. But to be honest with you, for the skill attributes, you should probably try to get pulse crit damage. But yeah, those are my tactician gloves. Last up, we have the holster. And it came with over 700 firearm stamina and electronics, which is pretty decent. Obviously, you would prefer to have like 750 of each of those. For the major attributes, we have armor, which is good. And for the skill attributes, we have smart cover duration, which is also good. But the other skill attribute that I would prefer with this build is pulse crit hit damage. So yeah, that's my Rektician build. We can go ahead and take a look at the gear mods I'm currently using. See, we have firearms with signature ability resource gain, 159 firearms. We also got 140 electronics with skill power. And on the mask, we have 160 firearms with signature ability resource gain. On the knee pads, we have stamina with armor. And on the backpack, we have 140 electronics with skill power. So those are the gear mods that I'm using. So yeah, as you can see, we have a lot of skill power and we have some signature resource gain on our mods. But yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the output of the skills that we're going to use with this build. And the skills we're using are the pulse and smart cover. And the reason we chose to use these two skills is because they increase your damage the most out of all of the skills. And we have both of these skills maxed out. So let's go ahead and take a look at the pulse. As you see here, we got 40% crit hit chance, which is the maximum amount of crit hit chance you can get. And we also got 96.5% crit hit damage, with 100% being the max. So as you can see, we're very close to having a fully maxed out pulse. And technically, I could increase that pulse a little bit if I switched over some electronic mods from my other characters, but I didn't feel like that was necessary. And as for my second skill, we have the smart cover with the recharger mod. And as you can see, we have 75% damage resistance, which is the max. And we also have 50% damage buff, which is the max. So we have a maxed out smart cover and an almost maxed out pulse. Again, I could switch over some electronic mods to increase that crit hit damage. Another thing I could have done is when I recalibrated these gloves, I could have got pulse crit hit damage as a skill attribute. But instead I chose to recalibrate my crit hit chance to assault rifle damage because we were already close to the pulse max. So that's another way you could get that 100% crit hit damage from your pulse. And yes, I know we're not using first aid, so that basically means if you're going to use this setup, you're going to have somebody in your group to heal you. Or if you have somebody in your group that has max smart cover, you can change out the smart cover to first aid. Or if they have a max pulse, you can change your pulse to first aid. And the first aid's not maxed out, but it's pretty close. We got 90,000 self and ally heal, and the max is 100,000. But yeah, if everybody in your team is running first aid with overdose, you might want to try to go with smart cover and pulse, because you know those two skills are maxed out and they're going to really buff the amount of damage you and your team does. And you probably also noticed that we're using the tactical link, and I'll explain why we're using that here in a second. Next up, we're going to take a look at my weapons. And like I mentioned, I'm using a marksman rifle and an assault rifle. And the first one we're going to take a look at is the assault rifle, which is a military G36. It has 20% enemy armor damage, and it has skilled, determined, and focused. The reason I chose the skilled talent is because I want to try to decrease my signature skill cooldown as much as possible. Oh shit. Hey, lady. Evidently, lady's gonna join us for the rest of the commentary. She's one of the best agents out there. Lady X 555. Alright, so when it comes to my assault rifle, I chose the skill talent because I wanted to decrease my signature skill cooldown time as much as possible. I tried to recalibrate my second talent. I wanted to try to get the train talent because I believe that would be perfect with this assault rifle. And basically what the train talent does is every time you get a crit hit, it'll increase your signature skill resource by 0.10%. So if I could get that trained talent on my assault rifle, that would be perfect. We would have skilled and trained as our first two talents. But for right now, we have skilled and determined because I ran out of Phoenix credits. So I'm going to have to keep recalibrating that. And for my third talent, we have focused, which is going to increase your weapon damage whenever your skills aren't on cooldown. Instead of focus, I would prefer to have brutal as my third talent because you need 2,800 firearms in order to unlock brutal. And as you can see, we don't have enough firearms to unlock brutal. So that's why I say you should have brutal as your third talent. Another reason we want brutal is because we want to get those headshot kills and increase our signature skill resource. So skilled, trained, and brutal would be the perfect role for this assault rifle. But for now, we're stuck with skilled, determined, and focused, which still isn't too bad considering this is a support build. Next up, we have my marksman rifle, which is an M44. It has 165% headshot damage. And this marksman rifle came with determined, which every time you get a kill, it's going to reduce your skill cooldown. It also has skilled. So when we get headshot kills, it's going to increase our signature skill resource. And for our third talent, we have brutal, which is going to increase your headshot damage. So I think this is a really good role for a marksman rifle with this build. You want that brutal because it's going to give you more headshot damage, which is in turn going to help you get headshot kills, which is going to increase your signature skill. The only way I could improve this marksman rifle, I think, is if we switch determined with deadly. So if we had deadly, skilled, and brutal, because we would still have the deadly talent unlocked because we have enough firearms. So we would have deadly, skilled, and brutal on the marksman rifle. And we could also improve it by making it an M1A because an M1A has a higher RPM. So yeah, those are the two weapons I'm using. Let's go ahead and quickly look at the mods. We have headshot damage, accuracy, crit hit chance on the M44. And for the G36, we have crit hit chance, weapon damage, headshot damage, crit hit chance, accuracy, crit hit chance, accuracy, hip fire accuracy. So those are the weapon mods that I'm currently using. And to be honest, I never really used the pistol, but I'll go ahead and show it. It's an X45, 12.2k base damage, which is really good. It came with expert and predatory. Alright, so I guess we can go ahead and look at the attributes real quick. And you see we have a gear score of 255. There are my primary attributes right there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the weapons, weapon damage, crit hit chance, crit hit damage. And our crit hit damage is a little bit low, but that's okay, because this isn't a DPS build. This is a buffer build, ultimate support build. We also got 97% headshot damage, 68 accuracy, stability range. We also got 27% weapons damage bonus. We also got assault rifle damage bonus and marksman rifle damage bonus, which is the two weapons we're using, so that's good. When it comes to combat, only 7% damage to elites. That's okay though. We also got 20% enemy armor damage, which isn't too bad. Lots of skill power. Again, the main reason we have this much skill power is because we wanted to max out pulse and smart cover, which we successfully did. And we also got some signature skill resource gain to go on top of that skill power, so we can get our signature skill as often as possible. When it comes to survivability, we have 356,000 toughness, 89,000 health, 75% armor mitigation, which is good, health regeneration, 0 exotic damage resilience, blind death resistance, disorient, disrupt, shock resistance. And yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to my stats. And last up, we're going to take a look at the talents that I'm using. And I'm not sure if y'all knew about this or not, but if you use the demolition expert, with the Reclaimer build, every time you use the explosive bullets, you're going to get an increase in explosion damage by 40% every time you kill a hostile with your explosive bullets consumable. Alright? Now, I haven't tested this out myself, but I did look it up, and evidently it works on consumables as well. So not only do we have the Demolition Expert to work with our consumables, but we also have the Chain Reaction talent equipped, and that's going to help with our explosive bullets consumables as well. Every time we damage multiple hostiles with explosive bullets, it's going to apply 40% more damage from the blast. So both of these talents are going to work with your explosive bullets. We also have the Wildfire talent equipped, which is going to help with your incendiary bullets. Every time you apply burn to any target, it's going to trigger a 30% chance to apply that burn effect to all targets within 10 meters. So that talent will also affect your consumables. And again, we're going to be using those consumables because we have 4 Reclaimer pieces. And the last talent that I have equipped is the Critical Save talent, mainly because I don't have any type of first aid skill with this current build. So I sort of need as much damage resistance as I can get. So if I run low on health, use a med kit, I'll get a 40% increase in damage resistance. Now, like I said, I haven't tested whether these talents really do work, but I did look it up, and according to some other people, these talents do work with the consumables that you can use, like explosive bullets and incendiary bullets. So that's why I have those equipped. I'll probably try to test that out sometime later today. But yeah, that's my entire Rektician build. Again, the main things that I like about it is that we have the max pulse, and which is going to give you almost 100% crit hit damage. We also have a max smart cover, which is going to give you that 50% damage buff. So I'm going to be buffing everybody in my group's damage with these 2 skills. And I'm also going to be buffing their damage by 50% with the tactical link, which I can use every 2 minutes or so. And I know right here it says 360 seconds, but again, we have talents on our weapons that decrease our signature skill cooldown. And we also have signature ability resource gain on our mods. So yeah, it's not really going to take 360 seconds to get our tactical link. Usually it'll take somewhere between a minute or 2. So yeah, we're doing a lot of damage. We're buffing our teammates' damage by a lot with this current build. And don't forget, if you have 4 Reclaimer pieces, you'll be able to get 50% in consumables duration. And the consumables will also apply to the whole group and will not be consumed on use. So we're going to be buffing everybody's damage from the skills we're using. We're going to be buffing everybody's damage from the signature skill we're using. And we're also going to be buffing everybody's damage from explosive bullets, incendiary bullets, and water. So that's why I consider this the ultimate support build, the ultimate damage buffer build. And again, I know there's a lot of room for improvement, especially with toughness, but I think once we get more electronics on our gloves and on our backpack, we should be able to switch one of our electronic mods out for a stamina mod. So that's how I plan on increasing my toughness with this build. But I feel like everything else is pretty much good to go, other than the things that I mentioned earlier. So let me know what y'all think about this Rektician build. Do you like it, dislike it? Do you see a lot of room for improvement? And if so, where would you improve it? Another thing I wanted to mention quickly before I go is that I do have other variations of this build. Sometimes I like to use the Vigorous chest piece, and then I'll switch one of my skills from Pulse to First Aid with the Booster mod. And you use that booster shot with this Vigorous chest piece. It's pretty good. You can also increase people's damage that way. And if I did use the Vigorous chest piece, I would switch this out with Reclaimer, so we still have 4 Reclaimer pieces. And I would switch these gloves to Savage gloves. These are pretty decent gloves right here. But yeah, that's my other version of the Reclaimer build. It's basically 4 Reclaimer pieces with the Vigorous chest piece and Savage gloves. It's pretty decent. But yeah, we'll save that for another video. But yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to my ultimate damage buffer support build. If y'all want to see some gameplay of this build, be sure to let me know in the comments. Also, if there's a specific build that you want to see me try to create, be sure to let me know in the comments, and I'll upload a video of that build as well. But yeah, that'll do it for this video. If y'all enjoyed it or found it useful, don't forget to do what you do. I'm A1. Thanks for watching.